part of a low light of my life. My wife and I weren't in the best place in our relationship because my goals were not associated with what her goals were. We weren't really aligned, even though we were married and we just had our first daughter. I was working for a $100 million accounting firm as a director of BD. And I grew up in Northeast Philly in a row home. And I learned a lot of great lessons from my dad. But to me, that was success. And I would always hang out with people that had more things, and we weren't really aligned. And when I was able to stop and slow down and really understand what do I want my life to be, our relationship got a lot better. I have a much more fulfilled life because of that slowing down. And the line I love to use is that I learned from my coach was slow down to speed up. He taught me this, and it saved my marriage. My two younger daughters probably wouldn't have been born if it weren't for the guiding and the coach that this person gave me.
Oh, wow.
Slow down to speed up. When things are right, you slow down and look around. The rest of life kind of takes care of itself.
It's important that people understand these things. I think that we get so caught up moving so quickly that we don't really think about what we're doing all the time.
I don't think you slow down until you get older. I think as a young man, it's just everything, try to suck in and do everything you can. It's not till you get older and you kind of like look around and you see where your life's at and you kind of take stock. And from there you say, wow, what's going to be tomorrow?
Wow.
And you go from there and you reevaluate things, and things have a different meaning when you're 40 or 50 or 60. They do when you're 20.
Yes, they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we take all those life's experiences from 20 to 40 to 50.
Yeah.
And that's makes us who we are today, and it gives us an idea what tomorrow's going to be.
Yeah.
And we think about what tomorrow's going to be.
Yeah.
At least that's how I approach things.
Yeah.
Every day, as I get older, each day is like more and more important than the last one.
Yeah.
Because now on the bell curve of life, 68. We're on the downward side over here. We're not 21 looking at what's happening.
Yeah. It would be amazing if like that 20-year-old self understood the 40, 50, 60-year-old mentality at that age. I mean, how powerful
Yeah, it's hard. And your father and your parents and the people who love you try to install and teach you these things. But for some reason, when we're so young, we have this mental block.
We're not ready.
I'm going to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
You told me not to step off the mountain, but I'm going to step off and see what happens.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to know they just have to do it. Sometimes the experience is just, you just have to do it on your own and figure out how it works for you and if it works at all for you, and you could be taught everything. You could be like,
Absolutely. And failure is a good thing. We learn from our failures. And it makes us a better person as we move forward in our lives.
I always do in my programs, I talk about how the lights only go on once, or the curtains only go up once. You only get one first impression. There's no second first impression.
Right.
So when I work with accountants and attorneys and bankers and very smart, intelligent people, sometimes the soft skills of emotional intelligence kind of goes over their head. Like, oh, I don't know it's so important that when I meet somebody for the first time, I should treat them as if they're the most important person in the room.
Absolutely.
And you told me that, being able to just smile at people when you first meet them and make them feel extra special. That goes a long way at creating this positive memory. And it could be some simple detail as I'm talking to you, my phone buzzes. I find that phone to be more important than you. So I look at it and you're talking to me, and all of a sudden I'm putting my attention elsewhere.
Right.
And that little detail could change the way the perception is of me.
Absolutely.
Because I showed you that something else is more important than you.
Absolutely. And active listening isn't just actively listening, it's also body language that you're presenting to someone. Like if you're looking down at your phone while they're talking, they can't absolutely imagine that you're that you're paying attention to them. So you've got to be here. You've got to be here. Your devices need to be away. You need to be, present
I'm curious
in
for
the
you,
moment.
Growing up, in the 60s and the 70s before phones were attached to everyone's hip.
Right.
What was that distraction look like for you when you were growing up? Like for us, that's it. The phone is the major distraction.
Right. Yeah.
I can't imagine people would just pull out a newspaper mid conversation. Hold on a second.
I can't make any comparisons between a phone today, and the distractions that come with that, and thinking about what the distractions would have been, back in the day. For me growing up, television was like my biggest distraction. Everything was geared around, like what show was on at 8 o'clock or 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And no matter what was happening, our interaction, hey, Star Trek is coming on at 8 o'clock. I have to be there. So it was good talking to you, but this is where I have to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Captain Kirk needs me.